Let's take a look at the Caribbean side of Panama. It has a continental shelf that is not very extended as opposed to the Pacific coast, which you can see here. The territorial sea extends 12 nautical miles, while the exclusive economic zone is 200 nautical miles, or to the edge of the continental margin. The physical coastal landforms from north to south start at the northern coastline, which is ringed by the hundreds of small islands that form the Bocas del Toro and San Blas archipelagos. The numerous islands provide an extensive natural roadstead and shield the banana port of Almirante. The over 350 San Blas Islands near Colombia are strung out far for more than 160 kilometers, or 99 miles, along the sheltered Caribbean coastline. There are sandy beach coastlines that line the border, and the coral reefs form all around that. The coastline extends 2,490 kilometers down Panama.
The climate of the Caribbean side of Panama is tropical. The early morning minimum temperature is usually around 75.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and the afternoon maximum temperature is usually around 84.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature seldom exceeds 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit for more than a short time. The cycle of rainfall is determined primarily by two factors: moisture from the Caribbean, which is transported by north and northeast winds prevailing during most of the year, and the continental divide, which acts as a rain shield for the Pacific lowlands. The tidal range on the Caribbean side is far less than on the Pacific side, and it's a similar contrast to how the water and temperature is opposite on the Pacific side and the Caribbean side. And the frequency on the Caribbean side is mixed and semi-diurnal.
Now let us consider the coral reefs on the coastline. This picture represents these reefs with the green lines, which are prevalent mainly around Bocas del Toro, near the Panama Canal, and even further down the coast. Each of our research papers speak in on this topic. For example, in my research paper, Kramer discusses Caribbean reef corals which have declined sharply since the 1980s, but the lack of prior baseline data has hindered identification of drivers of change. It was concluded that temporal changes indicated deteriorating environmental conditions pre-1960 in lagoons and post-1960 offshore, with offshore communities becoming more similar to lagoonal ones since 1960. Relative abundances of dominant bivalve species track those of their coral hosts, revealing broader ecosystem effects of coral community change. The nature and timing of changes implicate land-based runoff and reef deterioration. In other words, the mollusk community is getting smaller.
My paper was very similar